Great. Okay. I'm going to mute everyone. That's okay. And let us begin. There we go. Okay. So it's a rainy day. So I was thinking to do a little more yin style qigong, even though qigong is relatively yin. So kind of getting on the floor for a few minutes and stretching the meridian lines on the inside of the legs, and then using some acupressure points. And I'll explain what they're good for in the event that you want to employ some of this on your own at any point. And also I'm on a new computer. My computer is sent back to get some repairs done. So I think this computer is working fine, but if you can't hear me or see me, just give me a heads up. So let's start standing for now. So feet are hip distance apart or slightly wider. And let's have our hands on the lower abdomen. And maybe give yourself a little lower abdominal massage for a moment as we start to slow the breath down. Let the shoulders melt away from the ears. Take a nice, slow, juicy inhale through the nose, and then a really long exhale. Melt everything down. Redo that again. And exhale. And then let's continue with the elongated breath, just a little softer. So at your own cadence. Allowing, as we release and let things sort of open up and melt, that the mind is starts to become a little more clear, more at peace. Maybe even using, if you can hear your breath, if you use the breath at the back of the throat when you inhale, almost like you're closing a little bit off so that you create almost like a sound of ocean waves as a way of self-soothing. It's a very soothing breath and sound, listening to the ocean waves. And then let your arms drop down. So instead of going into knocking on the conventional or traditional knocking on the door of life, since we're going to do a little bit more yin today, let's just do water waves. So we're still turning from the hips and the waist, but the arms are just going to brush through the space around you. So letting the wrist and the fingers be nice and loose, maybe closing the eyes and feel the air, right? As we're moving our hands through the space, feel the wind through the fingers or the air flowing through the spaces between the fingers. And just imagine that we're just brushing away the tension and anxiety. Keep going while I try to take this from our friend Willie. So keep turning from the hips and the waist, letting the mind start to become even more calm. And we're still gently opening up the spine, right? We're still moving, we're rotating, opening up the hips. And then let's start to slow down. Okay, so for the spinal cord breathing, a little bit of a different flavor also. So we're gonna inhale like we normally do. So the hands come up, but instead of looking up, we're actually gonna tuck the chin down slightly and then very gently let your teeth come together and the tongue can rest at the top of the mouth. So we're stretching a little bit more of the back of the neck when we do this. And then as we exhale and curl forward, gently engage the glutes. So squeeze the glutes together gently. And then we inhale and come up, the chin tucks down, teeth come together, and tongue rests on the roof of the mouth. And then exhale forward and squeeze the glutes. So this is just a way of really activating the cranial sacral pump. So the space from the sacrum all the way up to the base of the cranium. It's basically a pump. So we're helping to pump the cerebral spinal fluid, which bathes the vertebral column, all the nerves that are running through it. So we're actually helping to facilitate that by creating a little bit of tension and release on the opposite ends. So as we inhale, instead of looking up, it's a little different flavor. Chin tucks down, teeth together. You don't have to grind your teeth, just let them rest together. And then come forward, engage in the glutes. Still exhaling as we round forward and inhaling as we come up. And let's do one more. And let the arms drop down. Okay. All right, great. So while we are going to be doing things a little bit more yinny today, I still want to do a little bit of clearing and cleansing. So let's just do the pump. So the pump is we start with the arms up, and then we bend the knees as the arms come down. And then almost like you're going into a ski jump, the knees will start to straighten as the arms come all the way back. And then the knees bend and then straighten. So there's a double bend. Bend and straighten, bend and straighten. And then let's pick up a little momentum. Think of us generating a little bit of heat and pumping action. Again, that's cranial sacral pump. So helping the movement of the cerebral spinal fluid, but we're also think about steam cleaning the insides. That heat is just think of it as cleansing, clearing the internal organs, the mind. We're spring cleaning the cobwebs and the gunk that maybe is built up. And let's start to slow down. Okay. Let's do a gentle stretch now. Let's do a little bit of tiger stretches its tail, and then we'll get on the floor. Cynthia, I think you might have joined us right after I gave a little bit of a heads up that we are going to sit on the floor for a few minutes and do a little bit of acupressure on our own legs, if that feels okay for you. If you can't get on the floor, that's fine. You can sit on like a couch or something. I like the floor because it's nice and flat, and then you have a greater ability to get into the stretches just for a few minutes before we come back up. But let's start first by stretching the head, neck, and shoulders. So hands are looking towards you, and you're looking towards your hands. Take a nice inhale, and then exhale, stretch across, opening up the hands, stretching the fingers, and then look in the opposite direction. And then inhale again. And then exhale, turning and looking away. And inhale. Nice long. So see if we can act the exhale here should even be a little bit longer, or the focus. So as we inhale, almost like that spring, when we inhale, a little bit of tension build up, and then a nice long slow release as we stretch across and then turn and look in the opposite direction. Do one more on this side. And let the arms drop down for a moment and shake them out. You're a little bit sore, a little bit tired. And then we'll come over to the opposite side. So nice inhale. And then slow, long exhale as we stretch across. And then look to your left. And then inhale. And exhale. Really stretch those fingers. We're stretching all the way from the base of the skull, through the shoulders, the upper arms, the forearms, into the palms, right through the fingertips. And then one more. Inhale. And nice long exhale. And then let your arms drop down. So before we sit on the floor, let's activate our hands, because with acupressure, you are your own practitioner. So you're going to be using your own hands to massage some of these points. So it's a really good practice for me before doing acupuncture. It really anyone is to activate the hands. So let's activate the inner and outer gates, which we've done before. It's the points that are about 3 finger breadths above the wrist on either side. And let's start with the palms facing you, and we're just going to knock our forearms together, just activating pericardium 6 and Sanjiao 5. They call them the inner gates. Really good for immune system, emotional immune system. And then let's switch to the opposite hands in front, the same thing. And then one more thing we're gonna do is they could curl your fingers into a loose fist so that your pinkies are touching. And we're gonna activate the points that are on the outside of the pinky finger into the hand. And then let your arms drop down and just close your eyes for a moment so you actually feel your own energy activating your hands. We call them chi hands when there's all that good blood flow and tingling sensation and awareness. So with that being said, I'm gonna bring the laptop with me so that you're a little closer as I do this. So if you have space, sit down. If you want to sit, grab a pillow and sit on the pillow to make it a little bit more. This is very loosey-goosey. So this should be very comfortable. And you can actually just bring your feet as far out as you want to. If you're sitting on a pillow, it might feel good. And you can have socks on for this, but I prefer, contact skin to skin. But if you if you will have socks on, that's totally fine. And so just make sure that you're nice and comfortable, a nice comfortable stance. So your feet don't have to be very close to you. And we're going to start. So feel the mound of your big toe here. So if you follow the path from the nail of your big toe, just over that mound, there's a little bit of a depression, an indentation, right? It's next to the bone, the metatarsal, I believe, of your big toe, but it's a little bit of an indentation on each foot. That's called spleen 3. It's really fantastic for digestion. So you just take your thumb, and I like kneading these 2 points on either foot. It might be a little bit achy. And then we're going to move slightly in towards you. So we start here. You can feel the bone here. If you follow it along, there's like a little hook, maybe about 1.5 inches closer to you. Spleen 4. I'm just going to massage those 2 points for a moment. Really good for blood flow to the uterus. We use this point really frequently for either menstruation issues, fertility, but also digestion. Okay, and then we're going to come all the way up underneath. You feel your ankle, the inner ankle bone here. If you take your thumb and just from the center where the pointy part is, if you just walk your thumb down, eventually you come into a little depression after you pass the bony part right in there. That's actually a point on the kidney channel, kidney 6. Let's massage that. Really good for kidney health, but also really good for hormonal health. This is a point that we use often as part of actually a trauma treatment, because the kidney and the water element is associated with fear, the emotion of fear. So it's really grounding and nourishing. And then we're going to walk our thumbs now. We're going to start coming up. So the shin bone here, right? If you take your thumb just off of the shin bone above the ankle, like you can feel where like the bone ends and then there's a little depression and the calf muscle begins. We're going to walk our thumbs up that whole space. You can actually almost like create a little space for your thumb. So if you feel the bone, just go right off of it. This is the spleen channel. And we're just going to work our thumbs up the space, again, between the shin bone and the muscle. You might even find that there are certain points, especially up towards the knee, that's really achy. So that's actually a good point to massage. If it's really achy, just be gentle massage. This is a really good practice to do at night also before you go to bed, because it's pulling energy down. And we're working on meridians that have to do with blood, that have to do with hormones, that have to do with emotions of, like I said, fear. So if there's some anxiety and fear, then starting from that toe mound, like I said, and just sort of using your hands and your thumbs. We can call this thumb pressing, where you're just really pressing gently up and down and massaging those areas. Maybe think about giving yourself just a little bit of TLC. And then this position that we're sitting in too is also stretching the meridians themselves of the spleen, liver, and kidney. Let's do that one more time. Really great for circulation too. If you have poor circulation in your legs, those are really great points to need on yourself as well. Okay, and stretch your legs out. Thank you. I really was like thinking about doing more of a kind of a yin practice today because it's so rainy and cloudy. Okay, so now that we've activated and massaged all of those points, let's just shake everything out before we go into, you might even notice energy feels a little bit different now in your lower body. Just shake everything out. And let's start to slow down. And let's start with flying. So the arms are down by your sides. On the inhale, with a nice, loose, flexible arms, we're inhaling up to about shoulder height, and then exhale, the elbows drop down, and then the arms float down. Inhale and exhale. Inhaling, thinking about we're being inflated, this big balloon, and then the air is let out and we float back down. Inhaling lightness, exhaling away any heaviness that's internal. Sometimes when our day to day and the events that, that transpire and the stuff that we have to do and the emotions can get real heavy, right? And we kind of feel a little bit tangled up and weighted down and sort of overwhelmed. So let this movement remind us that we let ourselves be a little lighter. Right? Inhaling and imagining that just like a beautiful bird that takes flight, we have perspective from up high as we look down maybe some of that muddiness looks a little less muddy. We take a moment, remind ourselves of that internal lightness, that some of the heaviness just melts away. And think of this as we gain height and perspective, and some of the tangles are untangled and just slip off of us and float down as we rise up. Mind becomes even more clear, and maybe with that perspective and that lightness, that we're actually able to see a little bit further down the road of possibility, potential. Maybe even solutions that you haven't seen before. Bring on the exhale, let's bring the arms down, and let's just continue that same movement, almost like our chi ball, but now our palms are facing one another, and just inhale, let the arms float apart. Exhale, they come back in. Now let's pause now in our chi ball before we go into our next flow. So this is, we've done this before, but not very often. And there's a few bits of moving pieces. So we'll go slowly and we'll repeat and repeat and repeat. So this is embrace the wind, caress the moon. So we start, the inhale starts here, and then exhale, the hands float away from one another. Now turn your palms up. And then as we inhale, your hands are going to turn in towards you. Okay. And then the back of the hands come together. And then we roll up to about solar plexus height and then roll forward. Back of the fingers come together as we come up again to their solar plexus area. And then let the arms float down and then make a big circle. So the arms stretch out and come right in front of the forehead. And then the hands are just going to float down as we inhale. And that's the entire sequence. So we'll go over that many times. So if that's the inhale, the exhale spreads apart. So inhale, palms up, hands turn in towards, so you're facing your waist. And then the back of the hands come together as we exhale, roll forward. And then inhale, the back of the fingers come up to about solar plexus and then reverse. So exhale, arms in a big circle, right in front of the forehead, and then we inhale as the hands press down. So I'll go really slowly again. So we exhale as the arms spread apart and the palms face up as we inhale and draw them in towards the waist. And then as the back of the hands come together, we exhale and roll forward. And then the back of the fingers come together as we rise up. And then exhale, make a big circle out and then in towards your forehead. And then we inhale down. So I think I went a little faster. So I'm going to go even slower before we pick it back up. So exhale apart. Inhale, the hands turn in towards the waist. The fingers are pointing in. And then the back of the hands come together. Okay. And then we exhale, roll that forward. And then as we think about inhaling and we're pulling the back of the fingers together as we come up. And then a big exhale as the hands float like a big circle, like you're churning the wheel into the center of the forehead. And then we inhale, right? We inhale, think about pressing the water down and you're like a little lotus that's perking its little head up out of the water. And I'll do that one more time slowly. So exhale, and then turning the hands in, inhaling. And then back of the hands come together as we roll up and forward on the exhale. And then back of the fingers come together as we slither up. And then reverse, exhale, that big circle in front of the forehead, and then inhale. So the first part is embrace the wind, like embracing the energy that we have inside, that bright solar plexus centric, where we initiate action from. So we're embracing, right? We're embracing that life force, that energy, right? And letting it help activate and motivate actions from the heart, right? And then caressing the mind is as the energy is building in the body, we're just letting the mind be clear. Exhale. Inhale. Back of the hands together. As we roll and exhale forward. And then inhale, sneaking our way up right to the solar plexus area. And then as we exhale, big circle right in front of the mind. And then we inhale. We'll do this many more times. So exhale, hands are up, inhale. Back of the hands together as we roll forward on the exhale. Back of the hands and fingers together as we inhale up. And then reverse that direction. So the hands come out around in front of the head. And inhale. Exhale and inhale in. Back of the hands together. We roll up and then forward on the exhale. And then sneak our fingers up on the inhale. And then we'll exhale, big reverse circle in front of the forehead. And then inhale. This time, we're gonna pause. Just follow me. The first part, embracing the wind, back of the fingers together. Roll forward. So the back of the fingers together as we sneak our way up. Let's pause here. So the back of the fingers are, if you feel right in the center of the solar plexus, sort of right where the soft part meets the bottom of the rib cage. And our fingers are pointing up. So we're connecting this the solar plexus. Just think of this area as warm, amber, energetic light. And we're connecting it to the heart, right? The solar plexus is, this whole area is where thought is put into action. So we're connecting this very active oriented part of our bodies, connecting it to our hearts so that we're putting into action from the heart center. And then the arms come down, make that big circle, and then we'll pause. The fingers are not touching you or each other, just sort of hovering. Right? This is the, we'll call it either the spirit center or Shen, as they say, the consciousness. And just imagine that there's this shimmery white light inside our minds. It's luminescent light. The moon is just, the light of the moon is the reflection of the sun, the connection of the heart center to our minds. But while we activate and move from the heart center, the shimmery white light that's bathing our consciousness, our spirit, like we're calming the mind simultaneously. And just think as we start to now move the hands down, right? Again, just like the murky waters, we're allowing that to descend away so that what's left is this clear, luminescent, brilliant white light with tranquility left in its wake. And let's do that flow a couple more times now without pausing. So nice inhale, and then exhale. Inhale, we roll in, back of the hands together as we roll forward on the exhale. Inhale, and then exhale, reverse that circle right in front of the center of the mind. And then inhale. And then exhale. Inhale. And then exhale, roll forward. Inhale. And then reverse that. Exhale. And then last inhale, just think of yourself emerging, right? Letting everything be melting away. The stuff that's, that's help us become who we are, but the stuff that we find that's still kind of heavy and we're carrying maybe unnecessarily, maybe that we've had, it's run its course and now it's time to let that melt away so that what's left is this really luminescent, brilliant light and peace and calm. Let's end with our hands in this chi ball for a moment. And then let your arms drop down. Inhale, the arms around and up. And then exhale, just think of the hands like little clouds floating down. And then inhale. exhale. And then inhale. Let's bring the feet together. Exhale. And this with bamboo. Okay. When you're ready, you can crack your eyes open. Thanks so much, everyone. I know that that sequence takes a while to kind of get and feel and then be able to relax into, but it can be it's a really powerful one. So hopefully you enjoyed it.
It was really calming, but I have to say that the wind moon one was the hardest one yet because the breathing is somewhat, to me at least, counterintuitive.
Yeah, I know. That's why
Probably the
it's,
point. I mean, that's probably.
and I mean, honestly, whatever feels right for you, there's really no wrong answer. It's just like if there's um there's an element of like, you know, inhaling yourself up out of the murky waters, but if that does not feel intuitive, you can breathe however, as long as you're breathing and moving with your breath, then you can play with that.
That's good to know that I didn't flunk breathing altogether.
You did not flunk. There's no flunking in here. You're here. You're already one, you passed the test.
And luckily, no one had to see me get up off the floor.
Having an element of humor in all this is also really important too. Not taking ourselves too seriously, but thanks so much for joining me.
Okay.
And I'll
Thank
see you
you.
next week.
Good weekend, everyone.
Was this one recorded too?
This one was recorded.
Okay.
I think it said it was recorded. It said it was, yes, it's recording. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Awesome.
All right.
Bye,
Take care.
Erin.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.